if I don't translate and I just say what I know, then let's see what comes out. Everything has prepared us for this moment. Everything that we've been through in this Saha world. I think about, like, today I was thinking about Octavia Butler talking about how God is change, God is, like so many things in the parable of the sower and the talents. And she talks about God being clay too. And I think about that in Buddhist terms of like how, we have this like ritual, basically a daily practice. It's called the practice, of like reciting sutra and chanting Nam-Myoho-Renge-Kyo mantra every day. And it's, I felt a ringing in my ear when I just said that. So maybe I just keep going like this. I hesitate because there's a part of me that's like, well, what gives me the right to speak on this on here? But I have every right, and so does everyone else. And yeah, this daily ceremony that I've grown up doing of looking at this mandala that depicts the inner landscape, of all phenomena, and also like the outer landscape. So basically it's like a picture form, except using like, Chinese characters, Sanskrit, like different kinds of like writing, with like Japanese phonetics, just kind of speaking to its multilingual nature, or like universality, I guess. But basically there's like all these different deities, creatures, like functions in the universe, and it's like a map, of all phenomena, and also a map of our inside world. And it kind of puts things into their positions and correct proportions. And, there's like the Devil King in there too. And it's like, imagine chanting to a mandala with a devil on there, but it's not about devil worship. It's like, even that is there. And it's funny too, because it's very tiny compared to like what's in the center, which is like illustrating our enlightened state. And it's interesting. I keep thinking about the translation of the mantra Nam-Myoho-Renge-Kyo, and how that is the enlightened state. Because listen to this. So Nam is like devotion and alignment, and or it could be I don't know. I like the translation alignment that I kind of picked for myself the most. But some people will default to like devotion. And Nam is at the beginning of a lot of different, mantras. And then Myo is mystic, the mystical nature of phenomena. And Ho is the law, and how it's kind of like a law that governs the phenomena. To me, the more that I kind of like study, I would say dabble, like very peripherally studying Taoism, I feel like it's a very similar meaning, although the character of Myo or Miao in Chinese, it's a different character from like the Tao, which is path, and Myo would be more of like the mysterious, but yeah, basically this mysterious, mystical law. It kind of has a similar sensation of the Tao, where it's like, it's formless, and Ho is actually the form, and Myo is the non-form of it. And it's kind of this elusive existing and not existing kind of nature of, a reality. And then Renge is lotus. And in Buddhism, lotuses represent cause and effect, or how, in the same instance, there's a cause, simultaneously there's an effect in that same moment or state. That kind of makes me think of yin yang also, of like how one can't exist without the other. And then kyo means sound vibration. So like a lot of times I would go to these gatherings, these meetings where people are translating this mantra, and the quickest way to translate it is, it's the devotion to the mystic law of cause and effect through sound. It's fucking loaded, it's like, what? It's kind of confusing. Devoting to the mystic law of cause and effect through sound. Like, you really have to think on that one. And even after a whole lifetime of like almost 42 years of like knowing this phrase, it's like, why would those principles be what enlightenment is? And basically the feeling of it, when I think about the feeling of the mantra, is like beingness. It just is. It just is mystical. It just is form and formlessness. It just is cause and effect, causing and affecting, and and then sound vibration. Like it just is, But I didn't tie it back to what I was starting to say about clay, and how Octavia Butler talked about how God is clay. Today I was thinking about, okay, so like I've grown up tapping into these principles and kind of like doing this ritual of elevating my life state to perceive these principles permeating my reality. And then, I'm like raising my life state, and then I close the ritual and I come back to the ground here. It's like this active practice of tapping into the enlightened state and then returning, descending back down to do the clay work. Because it's like, there's so many ways to call this paradigm or simulation or video game or, earth school. But basically it's like, if we know that we are these, who knows what we are, we just are. Maybe we are God experiencing itself in all these different bodies and perspectives, or, we are all creator, and these are all things I believe too. It's like saying something similar in different words and maybe different religious vocabulary, but or literature in this case. And it's like, if God is clay, it's like you tapping into this godlike state of creatorship, and this like knowingness of what you really are. And we came here to do something, and using the materials, even if we forget, and things like money and scarcity and war and, violence and all these things can really stir up these very like mortal, like human, very real feelings and fears and, feelings of limitation and constriction and all these things. But actually, I don't know. Can you feel it too? It's like, because I know I feel it. It's like the more I get pressed up against those limitations, the more I kind of am starting to really, really feel like, oh, I'm being pushed to the edge so I could really remember what I'm supposed to remember right now, and the truth of my being. And, sometimes I think that when I have, or when people can tap into kind of these like heightened states or psychedelic states, you know, there's kind of like this like, okay, now don't go tapping into this like delusions of grandeur, you know, like you're not this like messiah or something. But actually, I think all of us have this godlike creator, like just the words that came to me in that space was cosmic royalty. You know, I think we all are cosmic royalty to be here in a place like this, in a time like this. I don't think this is the first time we do. I think that maybe whoever is here on earth, this is my personal belief, I think we are very like cosmically kinky beings to come to a place like that is so fucking hard, and to be like, I'm gonna go to that hard place, that hellish place, and you know, see what kind of thing that I can create with life, like it's clay. Like that's fucking kinky, you know. That's what I think. But yeah, I guess I was thinking about that idea today of, if all these things that I experience as limitations and constrictions and fears and, you know, that really like push me up against my limits, like if I were to think of those things as clay and that I can like shape how this goes to remember my own creatorship or power or, you know, godlikeness, even though the setting is like, it just is, there's also this conversation that I'm engaging with where there's something that is, and then there's also this quantum aspect of we're creating in the midst of something that has been and is for maybe eternally or a very long time. I'm moving my feet around like a cat.